Brittany Furlan, the wife of Tommy Lee, is making how much on her OnlyFans account? Let's get into it.
Well, with this change of the weather, some people might have a little rock and roll pneumonia!
You wanted the best, you got the best from my office space in Long Beach, New York. Welcome to Ian Scotto Rocks. I am your host, Ian Scotto. I was just looking this up. The saga of Tommy Lee and Brittany Furlan was originally being put out there as their potential divorce, really started like a year ago, just about to the day of when you're seeing this video, and the drama has not stopped since. There'd be way too much for me to recap, but for those who don't remember, I'll try to do a Cliff's Notes of where we are now. So a year ago, it was reported by TMZ and other sources that Brittany Furlan was filing for a divorce from her husband, Tommy Lee, and he was apparently drinking too much and was just out of control. Then rocker from Falling in Reverse, Ronnie Radke, came out and said, not so fast, that's not why they're divorcing. They're divorcing because Brittany Furlan is being catfished by someone pretending to be me and being basically taken in by this guy to the point of actually showing up at my physical address, although I personally have had no contact with this person. Tommy and Brittany since reconciled. Everything seemed to be going well, but then there's continually been this back and forth between Ronnie Radke and Brittany, with Brittany saying, you actually did contact me, and Ronnie saying, no, you were catfished. Ronnie got the authorities involved, and then Brittany actually got a restraining order issued against Ronnie, despite a lot of people on the internet saying she had nothing to her claim. She had to have something if she was able to get a restraining order placed against this guy. I have noticed, like Rockfeed, who will report on basically if Ronnie Radke sneezes, has been radio silence on this, and I do think that's because the guy who runs Rockfeed is definitely a friend of Ronnie, and this does not make him look very good. And if you watched some of those videos, he was like his lawyer or something, because I remember at the time, him putting out these videos saying, he has no reason to lie. He has no reason to lie.
It seems like something he would just admit if he was having conversations with her, and it's not something, he's a guy who's really an open book and puts it all out there online. And so, you know, he says things that make people mad and frustrate them, but he says what he is thinking pretty much at all times. So I think there's a certain credibility in that, obviously.
Try to play some of that for you. But you know, and by the way, the guy from Rockfeed, Brian, he's reported on stuff I've done in the past. So like I watch the channel all the time. It's no disrespect, but it's just to say, I think there's two sides to this story, because she did get a restraining order issued. Now, I thought that was the end of everything, but somehow there is still more going on in court. And there's a TMZ article talking about how much Brittany actually makes. One thing before I get into this article is, you may remember Brittany was doing that show, Worst Friends, with Brittany Schmidt, who she had a total falling out with. They've deleted all of those episodes, and I remember on the final episode, Brittany talking about Brittany Furlan saying, you know, people think I'm a gold digger and Tommy pays for everything. Like, I've always made my own money. I have great investments. And I remember even myself talking about this in a video, saying it sounds a little far-fetched because, you know, Brittany does comedy and she does a few other things here and there, and she is certainly a name on social media, but I couldn't imagine her making Tommy Lee money. Then this article came out, and unknown to me, she's had an OnlyFans, I don't know for how long, and is making some serious bank and spending some serious bank. So there may be some truth to her claims. Let's just get into the article itself. This is from TMZ, which has a million pop-ups. I apologize for. Brittany Furlan and Tommy Lee, her alleged monthly OnlyFans income revealed makes as much as Rockstar, which is fucking crazy, right? There's a picture of the very beautiful Brittany Furlan. She's had a lot of plastic surgery, let's be honest here, but is a good-looking woman. And Tommy Lee, who's just tattooed everything now. I mean, it's, you know, you do you, but he's got like the eyebrow tattooed and the side of the face if the full sleeves and neck were not enough. Yeah. Brittany Furlan says she's bringing in a 5-figure monthly income including her OnlyFans pay, and it was all revealed as part of her bitter catfishing court battle, TMZ has learned. Brittany filed an income and expense declaration obtained by TMZ in her ongoing fight with Ronnie Radke. Now, here's my question. If this is about like stalking and harassment, and which I kind of don't believe on either of their ends because they're constantly posting about this on social media. I think they've calmed down now, but it's like if you feel in fear of your life with someone or that they're stalking you, you'd probably contact the authorities and keep it off social media. But I digress but I'm also wondering, like, why do they need to know an expense declaration? I don't really understand that. What does this have to do with these people, you know, and online harassment or bullying or whatever this is? I don't really understand. Like, is this her? Like, I kind of feel like, is this Brittany? Is this, if you're watching this, is this you leaking this to TMZ just to prove, like, I'm not a gold digger, I make a lot of money, which she apparently does. I mean, a lot of guys out there want to subscribe to girls' OnlyFans, just the truth. The social media influencer said she works 80 hours per week. Okay, I'm already calling bullshit on that. Like, I've looked at Brittany's Instagram before and watched her podcast, and like, she spends a lot of time like at the med spa and hanging out by the pool. And after I saw this story, taking like pool pics naked. And I guess if you have an OnlyFans account, that is work, but I don't believe she works 80 hours a week. Like, that's literally like, you just get up, you get to work and you go to sleep and you don't even have time to eat. Kind of don't believe that. Kind of sounds like a bit of an exaggeration there, but I digress once again. And she earns $45,000 per month. She listed $17,000 in income from a real estate trust. And get this, she says she has another $2 million in stocks and bonds. Holy shit. I mean, was she in on Bitcoin before everyone? Did she invest in Amazon 20 years ago? Because damn, if that's true, that's a hell of a lot of income, and maybe she's worth more than Tommy Lee. But she has these statements of how much she's making on OnlyFans. But once again, I almost feel like this is an advertisement for her OnlyFans. Like, I think there's going to be people who see this TMZ, like me, and be like, wait, she has an OnlyFans? I could look at Brittany Furlan naked? And yeah, that's what I think this is possibly about, because I don't understand why this needs to be filed. But I've been wrong before. Maybe there's a reason that this needs to be declared in court and then leaked to TMZ. And I'm going to report on it. Because we're, like I've said on the description, we basically are like the TMZ of 80s rock. Brittany included a screenshot that says she shows her March 2026 OnlyFans income, $54,000 in gross earnings. That drops to $43,000 after fees, but I'll take it. It includes a breakdown of $11,000 in subscriptions, $714 in tips, and get this, another $31,000 in messages. Now, I don't subscribe to anyone's OnlyFans, but I've learned enough to know that this is probably horny guys chatting with a bot that they think is Brittany Furlan. I don't think Brittany Furlan is at her phone or computer, you know, sexting with these guys or whatever she's doing. It's probably AI. So sorry if you're one of the many people who blew $31,000 on messages with Brittany Furlan. And then you've got some sexy shots of her. Brittany included another screenshot of OnlyFans earnings from April 2026, which shows another $65,000 in gross income and ended up around $52,000 after fees. Damn. The breakdown is $12,000 in subscriptions. We kind of just said this, so that's I don't know why this is here, but remember this picture of Tommy with Pam? Yeah. Brittany, who is married to Tommy Lee, the rock star ex-husband of Pamela Anderson, said she pays half of the expense of the home. That's wild to me, as well as insurance and taxes. Brittany revealed her monthly expenses include $39,000 on a mortgage, $910 on healthcare. My question of that is that like $910 a month on health insurance? Because that would be probably around what you would pay in that area, in like the Los Angeles area, or is that like trips to the med spa? because Brittany Furlan and I did a whole episode about plastic surgery and rock, and I'll show you some of that. Like, does not look like what she looked like 10, 15 years ago when she was kind of girl next door from Pennsylvania. She has done a lot of work, looks great, you do you, baby boo, and has always had a really attractive look, but has really transformed what she looks like through a lot of work. I mean, she did not have those lips and other stuff, as you can see here. All right, let's keep going. $2,000 on eating out. $2,000 on groceries. $100 a month on laundry. $100 a month on laundry. Damn. $500 a month on clothing. Other expenses include $50,000 in entertainment and gifts each year, and $20,000 in auto insurance and transportation expenses each year. Damn. So here's the thing. Whenever you guys comment on my videos of like, Motley Crue should hang it up, they really don't have it anymore and all this stuff, I don't think some of you get, and this kind of shows this, like, what rock stars spend in their everyday life, because that is kind of a glimpse into it. And whatever she's spending, I'm sure Tommy Lee is spending a lot of that too. And you know, like, the life of a guy who's in Motley Crue is not the life of the rich guy who lives on your block and maybe drives a nice sports car. Like, I think they have to be top of the line for everything, and they don't budget on anything. And that's why Tommy Lee is still on the road with Motley Crue, and all of these guys are, because I think once you get used to a certain lifestyle, you do not change that lifestyle. And according to this, Brittany Furlan is making a lot of that money as well, which is surprising to me, and I don't know how much I believe of it, but if those are in fact screen caps of what she makes on OnlyFans, it's a lot. I just don't know why that would be released, other than for her to advertise what she's up to. I've paid attention to actually what Brittany Schmidt has done post Brittany Furlan, and like, wow. The numbers she is getting are not what she was getting when she had this podcast with Brittany Furlan. And I said it in a previous video, I think this like female-hosted raunchy podcast thing is like a bubble that is really bursting, because the numbers are just not there. And I've checked out Brittany Schmidt's podcast, and every week it's just like her complaining about her life despite living in a really nice place with some rich guy in like South Florida, which is a beautiful area. And then just being like, yeah, I'm not selling comedy tickets. Maybe I should retire from comedy. Talking about mental health issues. Then being like, what do you guys want to see? And I don't think that ever works. I really don't. Just when you're telling the audience, like, what do you guys want to see? I don't know what I'm doing here. Maybe I shouldn't be doing comedy anymore. She seems kind of lost without Brittany Furlan. And I guess Brittany Furlan has found her calling of doing this OnlyFans stuff, but then also, of course, being married to Tommy Lee does not hurt. But damn, I just want to know, like, what's up with this whole thing with Ronnie Radke? Like, I would have thought that would have ended by now, but apparently not. And I don't think he's posting about it, because he probably will get in a lot of trouble if he does, if he has a restraining order. Interesting stuff. Let me know what you think in the comments if you're new to the channel. We're basically, as I said, the TMZ of rock. Be sure to subscribe, like the video. If you're on the mobile app, hype the video. If you want to send us a super thanks, we will pin your comment. And if you want to check out the merch store, link to that is below. Great high quality merch. And you can watch more of my take on Brittany Furlan, and I'll link to the video of the plastic surgery, because it's pretty wild. If you want to check that out right here.